I'm Sam, and this is Cooking Cuban. So to make buñuelos, what you need is some flour, which you see right in front of you. Yuca, we used frozen one, but you can use a regular one. There's eggs, that's a boniato, which is a white sweet potato, butter, and anise seed, which is that right there in the package.
Hace falta una olla de presión.
Sí, vamos a ponerle esta que de presión que anda más rápido. Sí,
claro.
hace falta. No, esto lo puede hacer en una olla normal.
También.
Porque lo pone más. Yo lo voy a hacer así pues sea más rápido.
What we're going to do is we're going to cut open the yuca and peel the boniato away, and then we're going to put it into the pressure cooker. You don't need to use a pressure cooker for this because we're really just boiling it to soften it, but it's just faster to use the pressure cooker. So in Cuban cooking, you're going to see the pressure cooker in like every episode, as you probably noticed already. We are making a lot of buñuelos, so we used a 3-pound bag of frozen yuca, and we're using 1 boniato. You can make more or less, depends how you feel.
Yo no sé cómo se llama boniato en inglés. Yo ni sé.
¿Cómo se llama el boniato dulce de ustedes?
Ah, sweet potato.
Sweet potato.
¿Eso es eso?
Es potato.
Ah, mira.
Ah, pero esto no es sweet. Este de nosotros este no es sweet.
Ah, es
Hay dos. Este es el que no es sweet.
Ah, bueno, ok. Yo no sé, yo lo voy a
Entonces no
buscar.
es un boniato.
Ajá.
Pero no es dulce. Porque el dulce es amarillo. Y este es blanco.
My grandma is explaining what boniato is, which is a white sweet potato. It's not sweet at all, though. It's usually eaten salty, with like butter and salt or pepper, whatever you really want to eat it with. She also explained that this is like really, really Cuban to eat boniato instead of other kinds of potatoes. So that's a nice piece of information for you.
Se pela.
We are now peeling the boniato, which is nice and white and not sweet, as I explained to you before. And we're cutting up the whole thing, and we're going to chop it into smaller bits so that it fits into the grinder. My grandma is constantly cleaning up after herself. As you can see, it's a very good habit. If you ask me, a messy kitchen is no fun afterwards, let me tell you.
Ahora en pedazos. Va a ser más fácil hablando.
Exacto.
Suena como caña cuando corta caña.
¿Viste? Mira.
Ajá.
Para que quepa nada. Lo voy a hacer así para que quepa en la máquina.
Ah, en la máquina, ¿verdad?
This boniato really sounds like sugar cane when you're cutting it. It's kind of cool and really hard till you boil it.
Olvídate de esto, vamos a hacer para no dejarlo regado.
Sí, está bien.
Después podemos, que hay mucha que te redondo. Vamos a echar una pintica de sal.
Ok.
Trae acá la sal. Cógemela ahí.
La sal.
Ahí.
¿De este o hay una más?
No,
¿Esa? ¿Esa?
sí.
Ah, bueno.
Yo sé con esta. Porque yo sí.
Because the yuca and the boniato are very, they don't have much flavor, my grandma put in some salt in there so that it doesn't come out so, unflavorous, I guess, for lack of a better word. Man, I need a dictionary up in here. So we're having a little bit of trouble putting on the cap of the pressure cooker, but my grandma, of course, figures it out. She's kind of a genius and sets it up for 12 minutes.
Vamos a poner chicken que es 12.
Ah, bueno, ok.
12. O si no es más, se puede poner manual, pero bueno, preste.
Bueno, no importa eso, ya te lo hace.
Ajá.
10 minutos.
Ahora vamos a poner azúcar.
As the pressure cooker is going and softening the yuca and the boniato, we are going to go and make the syrup for the top of the buñuelos. It's very delicious and sweet. We're going to put a bunch of sugar into this pot and then water.
Echo azúcar.
Ok.
Ahora vamos a echarle agua.
As you see, we are putting some water in there. There are no exact measurements to this. This is really in my grandma's head. I guess that's how you learn to cook well because you can't follow a recipe, you just gotta go for it. And now we're putting it on medium high.
Ahora uno va viendo cuando se hace.
Porque eso va a ser como un amigo.
Es un amigo.
Ah, ok.
Leave the sugar there until it kind of heats up, starts to bubble a bit so that you can really get a feel for the consistency of what is going to be the syrup of your buñuelos and really the heart of it, if you ask me. Mm-hmm.
El azúcar es cuando tú veas el espesor, que no esté no esté muy espesa ni muy clara.
Ah, bueno, ok.
Ni
Perfecto,
muy,
ahí en el medio.
no espesa ni muy clara. Ahora vamos mirando si le va haciendo falta más azúcar o más agua.
You saw my grandma add more sugar because she felt like it was too watery. That's really what you have to do. You have to feel it out. If it's too watery, add more sugar. If it's too thick, add more water. It's kind of common sense. You really have to wait till it's the right weight for it to really fill the void of the non-sweetness of the boniato and the yuca.
O sea que le voy a echar un poquito de esta prieta para que esté más doradita. No importa, todo esto es una cosa diferente.
Eso azúcar camelita.
Camelita brown.
Ajá.
Natural.
Sí.
To add a little color, or if you just want to use all brown sugar, add some brown sugar to your white sugar syrup here. My grandma says that in Cuba there was no such thing as white sugar, and she learned that here because it's like what's most widely spread and used, but that the brown sugar comes out better. So if you really want it to be deliciousness to the maximum, use brown sugar. I highly recommend it because this came out freaking delicious. I'm not even gonna lie. Well, mixing it up.
Wow. Mira ahora, mira, cójala ahora, mira qué linda.
It looks so pretty as it bubbles like that. We're still stirring it to make sure it's going to get to the right consistency and it doesn't just like burn all the sugar at the bottom.
La brown le damos olor que la blanca, porque esta es la original.
Ajá. Por
Esta es
eso.
la de nosotros, original.
Ajá.
Nosotros conocemos la blanca donde dejamos aquí. Bueno,
Ah, ¿sí?
en Cuba era ahí.
Ah, mira.
If I could just describe to you the smell of this sweetness, you'd want to make this right this second. What we're opening up now is the anise seed, and that is going to be just a few little pellets into the sugar so that it really gets the flavor, it boils it out. Had to help my grandma open the package there. So what you see is my belly and my shorts and my grandma's belly and me trying to open this up. She thinks it was hard, but it's hard for everybody. Not because she's getting old. She looks good. She looks good. She's throwing it in there. That was the anise seed that just went into the sugary, watery, about to be syrupy mess that you see going on right there. We're just keep stirring it for a while. As you can see, the consistency is starting to change. It's turning more into a syrup, and we kind of just let it chill out there until we feel that it's right, as my grandma says. It's got to feel not that liquidy, okay? It's really, you'll start to feel it get heavier as you go.
Ya está la comida, se quieren comer. Que son las dos. Yo hice la comida hoy, lo que estamos haciendo es el buñuelo.
Ah, yo sé. Me lo dijo esa mantica.
Mira, ya está, mira. Sí. Mira,
Ah, qué bueno. Ajá.
ya está buena, sí.
Ah, mira, sí, Beth. Ah,
Ya.
Now that the sugar is done, we have finished softening the yuca and the boniato, and we're getting ready to let it cool off before we put it into the grinder, because if you don't, you're going to burn your hand, like right off. As you can see the smoke coming out of there, it's not the Miami heat. We're going to crack the 2 eggs and put the stick of butter into a bowl where we're also going to grind the yuca and boniato using this machine.
Yo lo he hecho todo, ¿verdad?
Sí, echando uno a
Sí.
uno, pero con la mano no, con un
¿Por qué no?
Ah, bueno.
Está frío ya.
Ah, bueno. Esa es tu manera.
Ahora voy hablando ahí del boniato.
No empuje tú, que parece el palo.
El palo.
Ah, por eso.
Tú yo pones hasta arriba, nada más el palo empuja. Ah, sí, ahora sí. Ahora sí que yo diciendo todo.
Well, you heard there was many warnings of me to be careful because this could chop my finger right off. You know how grandparents can be. It looks like spaghetti, super cool. The heat from the boniato and stuff will melt the butter, so it'll make it easier to mold afterwards. And in order to do that, we started with this palette thing, you know, in order to get the eggs crushed and the butter a little even more softened. But eventually what you're going to want to do is knead it with your hands. Yeah, Grandma, get in there, girl. And once the bowl is just not enough room for you anymore, you can go ahead and turn it over like we're doing now. Grandpa giving the helping hand over there as I'm lazily holding the camera up and not helping them. But I do get in there. You know, that's what happens behind the scenes. You just can't see that because I'm recording right now. But my grandma's kneading the dough, kneading it real well. I'm now throwing flour over it so that it kind of becomes more of a, how do you say it, like the consistency changes into something that you can mold instead of kind of just like this pile of mush, which is what you probably figure it is. And it's really hot and warm and it feels gooey between your fingers, but once you put the flour in there, it really changes it up. This is the anise seed again. What you're going to want to do is sprinkle some of that into the dough and really knead it in there because it's what gives it the really nice flavor of anise. I mean, the package says anise in English too, so gonna have to figure that taste out for yourself.
Lo malo es hacer los ocho, eso que bruta soy para hacerlo.
Ahora sí, Hey, ¿qué pasó?
Now for the tedious, but for me, the most fun part of this whole mess. From that giant lump of dough, my grandma and I made a bunch of 8s. That's the shape of buñuelos. So first thing you want to do is get a little chunk, and you're going to start rolling it with your hand, just rolling it as you see my grandma doing it right there. Boom. You want to put some flour down so that it's smooth as you do it. You know, you don't want to get it stuck to the counter or anything. And then you're going to form it into a pretty little 8 so we can fry it.
Mira cómo se hace.
Tú eres bruta que sepa hacer eso. Tú te mueres de la risa.
¿Verdad? Mira. O lo haces así, o haces un 8.
You can't possibly tell me that that little thing doesn't look adorable. So cute, and even more important, it tastes like a little bit of Cuban donut heaven. Oh yeah. After that 8, you make 1, you just repeat. You repeat until you're done with all the dough. Now we're throwing it into the fryer. Of course, you want to have a lot of oil. You want it to be hot in order for it to really cook up well. What you're seeing right now is real time for how long we're frying this buñuelo. It really doesn't take too long. You want it in there, you know, you want to make it golden brown. And once one side cooks for a little bit, you're going to want to flip it over so that the other side can cook to the same perfection. Here I am flipping it over. Careful with the hot oil because when that thing spikes up, it's really not a fun time. Like I said, it's real time. We're about to take the buñuelo out of there. And what you see here is a collection of buñuelos which we have started to make. Many more to come, of course. The final step, pour that delicious syrup you made right over the buñuelos, and let me tell you, it's good. Actually, I'll tell you right now all about it. Once again, time for the Santa taste test. I know my hair's looking a little crazy right now, but you should eat this with a fork, but I suppose I'm pretty much a hand eater. Let's see. Oh shit! It's still good. 5-second rule. 5-second rule. Okay, so for those of you that don't really know what this tastes like, it's kind of like a donut. Okay, tastes like a donut. It's fried. Like, it's not too sweet. The honey is what makes it sweet, and it's really good. But it's kind of soft, you know. You don't want to burn it. So, see how it's like kind of soft and mushy? It's good. Basically, what I'm saying, basically with my mouth full, like I shouldn't be, but try it. Try it. They're good.
Vamos a pelar el boniato. Que tengo. Yo puedo comer mierda, tengo eso ahí. ¡Ay, porra!
Estamos aquí haciendo otro invento. Ajá.
Un invento de hacer las empanadas. Esto sería cubano.
Sí.
El de ustedes sweet. El
Sí,
dulce
sí.
que es sweet. Si tú ves que hiciste mucho buñuelo y no te cogió mucha amiba,
Ajá.
pues vas a repetir.
Ah, bueno.
Coge este. Cuando yo me pasa eso, cojo este.
Ah,
Cojo esto.
el secreto de verdad.
Exacto. Yo tengo uno nuevo allí, pero bueno, cojo esto.
Ah, sí, sí.
Y ya.
Y ya para no estar ahí volviendo. Volviendo.
Te lo estoy haciendo original. Pero cuando no lo estoy original, la cocinera te lo hace.
Ella se lo hace.